Hey everyone, so I wanted to talk about this thing that comes up in the ex-Jehovah's Witness community sometimes. You'll see these videos that come up and it's like,
this is the one big mistake that ex-JWs make.
And I've always been tempted to make a video like that, and so I gave in to the temptation and here I am. I think that the number one mistake that ex-Jehovah's Witnesses make is assuming that ex-Jehovah's Witnesses are like a thing, a community with a set of goals. The only thing that makes a person an ex-JW is that they used to be a Jehovah's Witness. We even have different categorizations of what that is. We have people who are physically out of the religion but still mentally in. We have people that don't believe anymore, but they're stuck in, they're physically in, mentally out. We have people who are physically out, mentally out, but that's just mentally out of the religion. Our only unifying experience is the fact that we used to be Jehovah's Witnesses, but everything that we do after that, including our own perception of what that experience meant and what we need to do going forward, that's all completely subjective and up to the individual. One thing that I think gives all ex-Jehovah's Witnesses real value and that we all really appreciate is hearing each other's stories. We all love hearing ex-JW stories. That thing unites us. When we listen to somebody's story that they posted on YouTube, whether it's super highly produced or it's just like a selfie cam of somebody sitting in their car or on their porch talking, those things really cut through and we see the humanity in each other. But the reality is that's a story about people that we used to be. And now we have to be new people. And we're not always going to agree with the new people. And that's okay, I think. I guess what I'm saying is that just because somebody is an ex-Jehovah's Witness does not mean that they are aligned with you and your goals and your morality, your sense of what should or shouldn't be done about Watchtower. To be clear, I think that that's a good thing. This isn't unique to ex-Jehovah's Witnesses at all. It's the way that every community operates. Now, like most things in life, I do have to explain this in Star Wars real quick.
Tell it to me in Star Wars.
Like, if you were to go on Reddit and go on r/Star Wars, well, that's not really like all Star Wars fans, right? That's just all Star Wars fans on Reddit who happen to subscribe to that particular subreddit. But because I am a Star Wars fan, I happen to know that the main Star Wars subreddit doesn't like the sequels at all, and I do. I like all Star Wars because I'm a shill with no standards. So I like a different Star Wars subreddit, one that's a little bit more positive to my particular tastes in Star Wars. Sorry that the sun keeps fucking up my videos. The idea of absolute unity and that one community fully represents that thing is actually a little bit emblematic of our background as a cult, where when we were Jehovah's Witnesses, we could only be Jehovah's Witnesses as long as we all felt and said and believed the exact same things. And as soon as you stepped out of line, you were no longer allowed to be a Jehovah's Witness. You would at the very least be considered bad association, and if you kept up in that conduct, you would be disfellowshipped. Removed. But that's not how it is with ex-Jehovah's Witnesses, because there's a million different little ex-JW communities. People on TikTok are having a different experience than people on YouTube, or on the ex-JW subreddit, or in various Facebook groups. In fact, each Facebook group of ex-Jehovah's Witnesses who are coming together for recovery in some way usually tend to fit different demographics. Why am I talking about this? Hey, first of all, none of your business. This is my channel. I can talk about what I want. Why am I talking about this? Well, it's because the kind of polarization that's happening all across the entire world among all sorts of people, regardless of their political or religious beliefs or lack thereof, we're all just divided. We are not all going to get along as ex-Jehovah's Witnesses, and that is okay. Not everybody in the world gets along, and it's not possible for everybody to get along. We are all now just people. We're just humans, and the only common experience we have is the religion we all used to be in. But we all left for different reasons. There are people who leave the religion because they feel that the group has the wrong interpretation of the Bible, that it doesn't give enough credence to Jesus Christ as our Lord and Savior. And so they leave the religion and they become Christians. And even then, maybe they become an evangelical Christian, maybe they become a more liberal Christian, maybe they become a Baptist or a Catholic. There are ex-Jehovah's Witness Mormons. I see them on TikTok. TikTok? God damn it. I see them on TikTok. I don't know what's going on with these people. I don't know how that happens, but that wasn't my journey, right? My arc was just, first of all, realizing that the teachings didn't really make sense and that I wasn't convinced by them, but that even if it was the truth, I was so upset by the group's stance towards gay people and trans people and treating women as second-class citizens that I didn't want to be a part of the group, even if it was, in some cosmic sense, true. I myself am a queer person. I can't live my life like that. So on my channel, that's the perspective that I give. It would be a complete betrayal of everything I believe in and everything I left this religion for if I didn't advocate for that stuff. And I frankly have no desire to collaborate with people who have stuck to their homophobic or transphobic or whatever beliefs after leaving. Dudes who leave this religion and then become manosphere red pill people, those are in direct opposition to what I value as a human being. And just because we used to be in the same religion doesn't mean I have to respect their opinions at all, just as they do not respect my opinions. Yes, we should respect each other as human beings, but I don't have to think that your ideas are good and say that they're good. I think if we're all honest, we think that people who disagree with us are wrong. Otherwise, why would we have opinions about anything in the first place? We think the things we think because we think we're right. And when we're presented with information that changes our minds, we change our positions. I really want to see religions like Watchtower, not just Watchtower, but cults that are like them. I want to be able to see them held to account in my home country, the United States. And right now, that's really, really hard to do. It's difficult just to get mandatory reporting laws in place because religion is given such extreme deference. Religions are allowed to do basically whatever they want in this country. I want to create a future where that's not possible, where religions do not have unchecked power to create whatever kind of harmful cult-like environments that they want. I think electing Republicans to office is detrimental to the ex-Jehovah's Witness cause because you are elevating people who are beholden to white Christian evangelicals. And white Christian evangelicals believe all of the same shit that Jehovah's Witnesses believe. And also they vote.
Human society in general is gradually corrupting everything that Jehovah has set in place for mankind. We see it in their promoting of abortion. We see it in their so-called gay marriage. We see it in the gender blurring that the world is promoting.
Yeah, I understand they have doctrinal differences, but they believe that the earth was created 6,000 years ago and that evolution isn't real and that gay people are bad. That is not the future that I want. I am in direct opposition to anybody who believes any of that stuff. Those are my red lines as a human being, and I have a right to draw those red lines just like right-leaning ex-Jehovah's Witnesses or Republican voters or whatever. They have a right to their perspective. I just don't have to respect it. And we're not going to respect each other. We are not united on that. Now, a lot of people say, well, but you should be united in stopping Watchtower. Well, maybe we should be, but we're not. If your idea to stop Watchtower is to cause a ruckus at a Kingdom Hall and film it and make yourself feel really awesome because you yell at a bunch of Jehovah's Witnesses, well, I think that that's detrimental to actually helping people. I think it plays right into Watchtower stereotypes of what apostates are like. I think it's going to terrify everybody in that Kingdom Hall, especially now that there's an increase in extremist violence in churches in this country. I am not religious. I may be anti-religious. I don't know. But I am pro-free speech. I think that religious institutions should be safe places. You are never going to convince me that it's a good idea to take a big swig of the wine during the memorial and stand up and yell about abuse cases. Even if all of the things you're yelling are totally true, I just don't think that that's an effective way to enact change, to get people out of the religion, to generate positive media coverage of ex-Jehovah's Witnesses. That's something I'm really concerned about. I'm not saying this to be divisive. We are already divided. We all know it. I'm just saying stuff that we all know to be true. So if you think that all ex-JWs need to get along and not stir up drama, well, I'm sorry, that's just not going to happen. We don't agree on everything. The only thing we agree on is that Jehovah's Witnesses are not the true religion. But guess what? 99.99% of all humans agree on that. My math may be off. I'm not a math person. And most of the videos that I click on, they're like, here's the big mistake that ex-JWs make. It ends up being, they rejected Jesus. They stopped believing in the Bible. They failed to give God a chance. They let Jehovah's Witnesses corrupt the beautiful, lovely God that we all know to be true. Okay, that's not a mistake, though. That's not actually a mistake. That's a disagreement. You wish that people would stay religious, specifically in the religion that you've now discovered is the real truth after you left the fake truth. Okay, well, I don't care about that at all. We all have a right to make our own decisions, but none of us have an obligation to respect anybody else's decisions. When one ex-JW disagrees with another, we'll often accuse ex-Jehovah's Witnesses who disagree with us of like being in an echo chamber. But something I've really had to come to grips with lately is that we are all in echo chambers. Our algorithms determine what we see on our social media feed. And that means the kind of news that we see, the kind of takes that we're seeing, the very perspective, everything is designed to kind of echo back stuff that we like back to us to keep us on the apps. That's how algorithms work. Or it's going to show us the most extreme bad faith opposing side of you, to make us really upset and drive us further into our existing beliefs. So I do try and avoid that stuff. I try and avoid echo chambers. I do try and examine all sides of an argument if I make it on this channel. People who leave their religion and end up being very religious, they don't want to hear a bunch of atheist, anti-religious people telling them that religion is wrong. And so they're going to avoid that kind of content. Does that put them in an echo chamber? I guess, but I also don't want to hear a bunch of Christians talking about how awesome Christianity is after my life was kind of ruined by this form of Christianity. And I know, don't worry. I understand that Jehovah's Witnesses aren't true Christians, and now you do have the true Christianity. And so the position that we're left in is basically talk about nothing, never give any real perspective on anything, and just resort to surface level dunks of the governing body or their talking points. Or we try and have substantial conversations and accept that that's going to alienate a certain section of would-be subscribers. That's the calculation that everybody's making when they post on YouTube. People who are really into the conspiracy side of things and the Russell Freemason stuff, they know that they're going to turn off people like me who don't believe that. And that's fine. That's the calculation they made. And I know that because I'm a shrill, progressive SJW type, that I'm going to alienate people who don't believe in the stuff that I do. And I'm okay with that too. That's what life is. And the internet is sort of real life and not real life at the same time. If you have been to an ex-JW meetup, it's lovely. People are always really nice to each other and polite in person. Not always, but it's really easy to find those common experiences. Future Jake in the editing booth hopping in here, because apparently I just didn't finish this thought when I was recording. In real life, when we meet people who disagree with us, it's pretty easy to just avoid those disagreements. In this video, I'm mostly talking about online, like the online ex-JW community, and sometimes real life ex-JW organizing. Free speech is super important, and obviously I really like arguing. And you should be able to say whatever you want, and believe whatever you want. Among friends in real life, like flesh and blood relationships, we can disagree on all kinds of things. But once you start disagreeing on who gets to be considered a human being worthy of basic dignity and human rights, like that's the different thing. That's the red line that I'm talking about in this video. That's the thing that I don't respect. But the mistake that I see people making is that the ex-Jehovah's Witness community is one way and can be spoken of as a thing, as this is what the ex-JW community is like. There are no monoliths. You know what we call those? We call them cults. People who all believe the same things and do the same things, or else, that's a cult. There are no monoliths in any sort of community online or in real life. And even Jehovah's Witnesses, they don't actually all agree with each other on stuff. That's why they have those differences of conscience. That's why some Jehovah's Witnesses are raised not being allowed to watch Star Wars, and some are raised by Star Wars superfans who pass on that stuff to their kid. That was me. Our subjective experiences as Jehovah's Witnesses leads us to very different subjective experiences outside of Jehovah's Witnesses, and I think we all just need to make peace with that. We also don't agree on what recovery is or what it should look like. For me, I think that everyone just needs to go on their own journey. Some people will come in my comments and say that I need to move on, and like not Jehovah's Witnesses, who of course say that, but ex-Jehovah's Witnesses who apparently still watch ex-JW videos, but feel that they've moved on and feel that I have not. And I think moving on means different things to different people. I spent the first nearly 30 years of my life preaching lies and trying to get people to join Jehovah's Witnesses. But I do think all that experience made me good at talking, and I'd like to put that to good use in, at the very least, advocating against the group and telling people why they shouldn't join Jehovah's Witnesses and why it's not true. But that's not everybody's choice. Some people want to leave and never look back, and they don't want to be reminded of all this crap, and that's totally valid. I think what I'm trying to say is we probably need to do a better job of, just accepting that we're all different and we're all going to be different. Just like we didn't get along with certain JWs within the religion, we're not going to get along with certain ex-JWs. Part of leaving the group is accepting that the idea of perfect unity and having this global friendship with people you don't even know, but like you could totally go to their house if you visited in another country. That sounds cool, but it's only available to people who are in a cult, because that's not how the world works. And as we realized when we left the group, those kinds of friendships, that kind of environment where you know that anywhere in the world you go, you'll have friends because you all believe the same things, those friendships are super thin. They fall away instantly. The second you're disfellowshipped, oops, all of a sudden, all of those amazing friends you had all over the world, they weren't really your friends. You just shared a belief in a thing. Real relationships and real friendships are way more important than like an online community of people getting along or not, in my opinion. I get frustrated sometimes that not everybody believes the same thing that I do. I see everybody fighting all the time on the internet, and I see that because I am also there fighting on the internet all the time. And all of us are saying the things that we're saying because we all think that we're right and that the people who disagree with us are wrong. That's just how life is. And part of leaving Jehovah's Witnesses is having to figure out what real life is. And real life is not perfect unity. Real life is disagreement and having to make peace and work together despite those disagreements. And if someone is not aligned in your values, well, you're not obligated to work with that person. Like at my real job, my day job, I work with mostly people who are the complete opposite of me politically. But we all get along great. We work together to complete a task for, patient healthcare reasons, right? That's like a job. That's a real thing. And ex-Jehovah's Witnesses, that's a really broad, nebulous concept that sort of isn't a real thing. There's no ex-JW movement. There's just a lot of different ex-JW movements, all kind of trying to do different things. I'm just kind of thinking about the complexity of trying to build an ex-Jehovah's Witness movement that could be effective in legislating against Watchtower and actually building up some resources for charity. I don't know, I've just been thinking about that because life is crazy and weird. Anyway, I guess I don't really know why I made this video or why I talked about all that. Maybe it was a bad idea, but this is kind of all my thoughts about ex-JWs as a unit. And I think that we're not. We're just a bunch of different people. Some of us happen to agree and come together to try and enact change or move the needle in a certain direction. So, sorry I made this. I don't really know what it was about even, really. I guess I just wanted to rant about ex-JW stuff and the fact that we're all divided, and that's okay. We're not a cult anymore, so it's fine. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and like and subscribe and do all that stuff. Thank you. Still don't have a sign off.